9:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. It's good to be back in the regular shift. I honestly, it's always fun filling in for Dan in Nashville's Morning News. Day one, right? I don't know how they go through that grind day in and day out. It takes a different kind of person. I am not that person.
Yeah, it's a lot of naps and a lot of...
I could have used 2 or 3 naps yesterday.
I'm right there with you, man. Holy cow.
It is a grind, and Dan does it very, very well. But I had a lot of fun doing the morning show yesterday. You know, we spent the majority of the morning calling out Marsha Blackburn.
As you should.
Because there's this secret vote happening tomorrow for Senate majority leadership. And the rumors are that Marsha Blackburn is voting for John Thune. I don't know if I like that. And I know that our listeners didn't like that, and we had her voicemail box full at her D.C. office by, what was it, like 7:30? The voicemail was full. So it was so full, and the response from you guys was so large that Marsha put out a statement at 9:16 a.m., conveniently right after we had gotten off the air, right after all of you had lit up her phone lines, and she said, I look forward to hearing from all the candidates this week, and I'm going to vote for the person who is best to work with President Donald Trump to begin the great American comeback. That was her statement. Almost 24 hours ago. After you guys lit up the phone lines and sent her plenty of emails. I think even some of you sent some faxes, which is just dedication at a different level. So I want to say thank you. And then after I get off the air, I go and I meet the wife and the kids. We were down at Old Fort Parkway, Stones River Mall, and the kids like the little play area inside. The big kids are at school. The little kids, we did the little play area. And I'm sitting there, and I get a phone call. And the phone call is from Marsha Blackburn's comms director. He says, hey, what's going on? Can we have an off-the-record conversation? I said, of course we can. Why would I divulge anything that we have in an off-the-record conversation on the air? And so we talked for a bit, and then I said, I don't understand why this is off the record. I don't know why I can't say anything. He's like, oh, okay, oh yeah, you're right. You can say this on the air. It's like, cool. I honestly, I wouldn't disrespect that. Like, if they wanted to say something to me off the record, I think that's one of those things that comes with the gig, and you kind of would respect it. But he said to me essentially what the statement was. She hasn't made a decision yet. So, with that being said, I do think that we can help her make that decision. We can help. We can still continue to call Marsha and let her know, and we can let her know how we feel. We just gave her this gig. Do the right thing by Tennesseans. Politico is reporting that Republican senators are upset about this effort on social media to promote Rick Scott for Senate Republican leadership. Yeah, you heard me right. Republican senators are upset. They're upset. And the quote from the Politico article is, senators do not take kindly to having an army of social media trolls attack them. And I would just say, hey, guys, it was that army of social media trolls that just won you a massive landslide election. You better respect that army of online trolls because they're wild. They're a wild bunch. And if they find you in their crosshairs, you're not going to enjoy it. You're not. And Senate Republicans are not enjoying it right now. But again, that's how you won. That's how you won. Make no mistake about it. Memes, once again, won an election. They did. Senate Republicans are upset. Oh, they're so sad. They're so sad. Gosh forbid anything would make them upset. We don't want to do that. Why would we want to do that? Here's the thing. We have to keep the pressure on. We have to. Otherwise, they're just going to go back to their cushy jobs. It's going to be status quo, and we can't have that. We don't have enough time for that, and we need somebody to get that Senate majority leadership that is going to push forward the Trump agenda. I said yesterday, and I'll say it again. Do I think Rick Scott is perfect? Absolutely not. He's got a lot of red flags. No pun intended. He supported red flag laws in the past, but I don't think he's ever said anything negative about Trump, send it to me if you have it. I don't think he has. I don't think he's got the backstabbing in him. But this list had been going around all day yesterday. Benny Johnson put out the list, and it laid out every senator and how they're voting, which is, listen, this is important to know. And I'll tell you this. I trust Benny Johnson. I know he's super connected. And why would we not believe the list that's going around? One of the names on the list was Senator John Kennedy. And John Kennedy was quite upset, actually, about this list going around. And maybe it's because his name on the list had him down for voting for Cornyn. Maybe that's what ruffled his feathers a bit. You know, John Kennedy, he talks pretty tough quite often. We're big fans of him here, but maybe he didn't want that leaking out. And he went to Fox News yesterday to discuss this list that's floating around and to talk about who is going to be the next Senate leader.
Well, there's an official-looking document floating around the internet that supposedly says, here's how every Republican senator would vote, and here's who he or she would vote for Senate majority leader. And in an unprecedented act of selflessness, it has Senator Thune actually voting against himself and for Senator Cornyn. If you think this list is real or accurate, then you probably think that Elvis is alive.
Everybody gives a little laugh. Here's the thing. He doesn't outright deny the list. And secondly, as you'll hear in the continuation of this clip, John Kennedy never says who he's voting for.
And running a small bait stand on Lake Erie. We haven't even had a meeting yet to hear the formal proposals from the three nominees about how, if at all, they will run things differently than Senator McConnell. Here's what I know. We will pick a leader who will advance President Trump's agenda. We saw what everybody else saw on Tuesday night. Despite what the so-called experts in Washington say, with their NPR tote bags and their organic broccoli, this was a really simple message from the people. Republicans aren't perfect, but the other side is crazy.
Yeah, and we can agree with that. Republicans aren't perfect. The other side is crazy. Here's where we have an issue. You're doing a secret vote. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. And the majority of Americans, if not all of them, that voted for Donald J. Trump last Tuesday feel the exact same way. The secrecy, enough. Enough of that. He also never, he questions the legitimacy of this list, but he never outright says it's a lie. He never outright says who he's voting for. He just talks around it. And he doesn't push for a public vote. He doesn't. Now, after that clip came out, Benny Johnson responded. And he said, Senator Kennedy went on Fox News to disavow this whip list created by Senate leadership insiders. Yet he didn't name any inaccuracy or say who he's voting for. Okay, Senator, come on my show and tell us what's going on. You have my number. Also, who says Elvis is dead? Exactly. And furthermore, the other two guys that are in the running for this, it just gets slimier and slimier with them. There are clips that are now circulating, because the internet's forever. This is one thing that these guys don't understand. The internet is forever. It always is, always will be. Anything that happens is going to be found and found quickly. And one of the clips that came up is this video resurfacing of Senator John Cornyn saying Trump can't win because he doesn't appeal to people beyond his base. This is just a few months back. talking about 2024.
From U.S. Senator John Cornyn out of Texas, the Republican says former President Donald Trump can't win the 2024 general election for president. He also says the GOP needs to find a candidate who actually can. This was all in a call with Texas reporters. Cornyn saying, I think President Trump's time has passed him by. And he adds, I don't think President Trump understands that when you run in a general election, you got to appeal to voters beyond your base.
Ice cold takes from John Cornyn. This is a guy that wants to run the Senate. Come on. You got to appeal beyond your base. Oh, what? Like getting a record number of Latino voters, a record number of black voters, a record number of young voters. What do you mean? What are we talking about here? Ice cold take. Is that who you want in charge? Is that who you want in charge, John Cornyn? Or how about this video that resurfaced of the reactions from Senators Thune and Cornyn on the heels of the E. Jean Carroll verdict?
Scott, let me ask you before we go ever so briefly to summarize Capitol Hill response, so far as you've been able to gather it, to the civil verdict in Manhattan today against former President Trump.
Two reactions worth noting from Senate Republican leadership. John Cornyn of Texas told CBS News he simply doesn't think Donald Trump can get elected president. Quite a statement from Senator Cornyn.
Ice cold take. Ice cold.
John Thune of South Dakota says America is going to have to decide whether it wants to deal with, quote, all the drama after this verdict and the other investigations. Not exactly a robust endorsement from top Senate Republicans.
No, not exactly a robust endorsement at all. And I would have to ask Cornyn and Thune, were you watching the same E. Jean Carroll that we all were watching? Because I never, ever took this woman seriously.
You don't feel like a victim?
I was not thrown on the ground and ravished, which the word rape carries so many sexual connotations. This was not sexual. It hurt.
But I think most people think of rape as it is a violent assault. It is not.
I think most people think of rape as being sexy.
Yeah, this is who Thune and Cornyn after the verdict were like, wow, Trump is not going to be elected, and we can't have all this drama. Did they watch any of it as it unfolded in real time?
It is not.
I think most people think of rape as being sexy.
This woman is bat bleep insane. Absolutely insane.
Let's take a short break.
Think of the fantasies.
Even Anderson Cooper was just completely thrown off.
We're going to take a quick break. If you can stick around, we'll talk more on the other side.
You're fascinating to talk to.
Yeah, fascinating to talk to. And then on the other side, we have Rick Scott. Again, not perfect, but a vast improvement over Thune or Cornyn. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? We need good Senate leadership. They're now projecting that Ruben Gallego is going to beat Kari Lake. Senate leadership didn't help her in her election at all in Arizona. Not one bit. We can't repeat the same mistakes of the past. Remember in 2016, it felt like it was 6 months into the presidency of Donald J. Trump and we hadn't gotten anything done. Thanks, Mitch. Do we want a repeat of that? I certainly don't. And I hope Senator Marsha Blackburn gets her butt in gear and realizes who she needs to vote for. Or maybe not even who she needs to vote for, but who she doesn't need to vote for. And Cornyn and Thune are at the top of that list. It's 9:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. On the way, the Trump administration continues to take shape, and CNN is very upset that Elon Musk is spending a lot of time at Mar-a-Lago. I'll play the clip for you when we get back. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
We have breaking news this morning. The judge in the New York hush money case against President Trump has pushed off a decision. Also, there's a new effort to undo one of Elon Musk's businesses. Those stories coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yeah, the left is big mad at Elon Musk.
Big mad.
Big
Yeah.
mad. 9:26 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. CNN was kvetching just yesterday. They're very upset that Elon is spending a lot of time down at Mar-a-Lago.
Mar-a-Lago has basically been brimming for the last 2 days, I'm told, with two kinds of people. Those angling for a job and those who are trying to influence Trump into hiring their picks. But one person has loomed over all of that. His name is Elon Musk. Multiple sources tell me tonight that Musk has been seen at Mar-a-Lago nearly every single day since Donald Trump won, dining with him on the patio at times. Today, they were seen on the golf course together. Musk has been in the room when world leaders have called Trump. And tonight, we've learned he's also weighing in on staffing decisions, making clear his preference for certain roles even. Publicly tonight, Elon Musk is backing Florida Senator Rick Scott as the next leader of the Republican conference to replace Mitch McConnell. While Musk himself is still not expected to take any kind of formal position inside Trump's administration, given how complicated it would be with his companies, what's becoming clearer tonight is that he doesn't really need to, with one source telling me Elon Musk is having just as much influence from the outside.
And CNN reports that like it's a bad thing. Oh, it's a terrible thing, right? We can't have Elon Musk having influence. You know, Elon Musk actually put up a poll. This was yesterday about who should be running the Senate majority, who should be the Senate leader, and looking over the Senate majority. And the poll was just unanimous. Over 1 million people voting, and the people deciding Rick Scott. That's what they want. I got a great text here a minute ago I'm trying to find it, and I'll give you credit as soon as I find it. But the gist of it was, can we stop calling it the Trump agenda? This is the agenda of the American people. And to that, I say amen. You nailed it. What we're trying to do is advance the agenda of the American people. Who is going to help that the most? We've seen already what poor leadership can do in the Senate when you have guys like Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell calling the shots. And we can't have a repeat of that. We just can't. We need to get somebody that's going to fall in line. That's Rick Scott, in my opinion. We'll see what happens here with their secret vote tomorrow. And I'm told that we'll be lucky enough to have Marsha Blackburn on the show later this week or early next week. They couldn't get her on before then. Weird, right? Weird. And if we find out that she voted a different way, I will be sure to ask her why. In a loving, caring, kind of way. But we need the right people in place. Although, when you look at how the Trump administration is shaping up, you can absolutely make the case that we are in a better position today than we were heading into 2016, without a doubt. You look at some of these appointments, starting with Tom Homan, and it's huge. Stephen Miller, awesome. Susan Wiles, fantastic. And then there's other appointments being named as well. We'll cover all of those, plus really dive into Tom Homan, who was on Hannity last night, next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's now 9:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The judge in the hush money case against President Trump has postponed his decision on sentencing. Juan Merchan was set to rule on whether he'll undo the conviction in that case today, but Trump's lawyers have asked for a delay over the weekend, arguing there are strong reasons for the delay and eventual dismissal of that case. Merchan now says he'll delay the ruling until November 19th. That's 1 week from today. Nashville City Council is taking up whether to ban street vendors in almost all of downtown Nashville. Today, council will vote on a proposal that would expand restrictions to the Gulch, where complaints have been on the rise. These folks spoke to Channel 4 about the proposal.
It wouldn't exactly be a walk in the park to have street vendors and, huge crowds kind of trying to walk through here.
I'm not entirely sure that I would feel safe riding a bike in this area because I would be scared to get hit by a car. I think that if you widened the sidewalks, it would definitely help.
Nashville DOT said 29 pedestrians have been struck by cars in the Gulch over the past 3 years. Elon Musk's SpaceX launched 2 rockets from Florida yesterday, one of them a communications satellite for South Korea. And today, a group of scientists penned a letter to the Federal Communications Commission asking for a pause in rocket launches.
The FCC regulates the launch of communication satellites, and the scientists are asking for a pause in new launches until a study can be done on the impact of the rockets, their fuel exhaust, the satellites themselves, and the pollutants that are created when those satellites burn up in the upper atmosphere. What's more, say the astronomers, their telescope view of the universe is obscured by the 9,000 active satellites currently circling the globe.
That's ABC's Jim Ryan reporting. Stocks are mixed this morning. The Dow Jones now down 130 points. The NASDAQ is up 13. The S&P 500 index -5. That's the latest news. We've got your weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 9:32 on Super Talk. It's Chris Hannon. I want to tell you about my buddy Shane Ring over at Cover Nash. If you need health insurance, now is the time to get it. And health insurance is what Shane Ring has done for over 20 years. He shops the entire market to find you the best plan. With over 75 different companies to shop from, with every type of plan available on the market, he can help you no matter what your income or health situation is. Don't let yourself or someone you know get taken advantage of by call center agents and limited, overpriced coverage. You don't want that. Shane can easily save you 30 to 60% on your monthly premiums, and many of these plans will even pay you when you use them. So call Shane Ring today and let him know that Chris Hand sent you. He'll show you how much you could be saving on quality coverage today. You can reach Shane at 615-465-0023. That's 615-465-0023, or they're online at covernash.com. That's covernash.com, and you can hit that website and book an appointment with Shane Ring. Get a quality health plan managed by you, not the government. Covernash.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Well, first of all, I think Mr. Homan is the exact right choice, and I'm glad the president has moved on that so quickly because it was such a big part of his campaign. Number two, look, there's a whole bunch of people in this country that don't need to be here. In fact, there's, I think, 1.3 million people who've already received deportation orders from federal courts. They've already had due process. They need to leave, and so there's a good place to start. There's a whole other bunch of people who are here that we know have committed violent crimes, either where they were or since they've been here. They need to be sent away as well. So there are large numbers of people that need to be taken out of this country, and I think Mr. Homan is going to be the person who's most capable of getting that done. And for those who think that this is somehow unusual, it's not. Every administration deports people. Barack Obama deported all kinds of people, lots of people, in fact. And so it's something that the executive branch can and should do when due process has occurred or when we know there are people in the country who wish harm on American citizens. This should not be controversial, and in fact, in the campaign, it wasn't. Polling repeatedly showed that people supported Trump's viewpoint on this issue.
That's Scott Jennings and his take on Tom Homan being appointed the border czar. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. There's a lot of talk right now about Trump's appointments. However, he's only made 3 of them official on Truth Social. Elise Stefanik, Lee Zeldin, and Tom Homan. Tom Homan easily the grand slam of the 3. I mean, you'd say home run, and that's an understatement. An absolute understatement. He was on last night with Hannity, and they're talking about the deportation efforts and how he's going to get it done. And whenever you hear Tom Homan talk, you're just like, let's go, brother. I'm all in.
Trump, he was suing the sanctuary cities, DOJ suing the sanctuary cities, pulling federal funds. Of course, day one, when Joe Biden came in office, he stopped that lawsuit. So that has to be put back in place. And look, I've seen some of these Democratic governors say they're going to stand in the way. They're going to make it hard for us. Well, a suggestion: if you're not going to help us, get the hell out of the way, because we're going to do it. So
I love that. He said there are Democrat governors saying they're going to make it hard. They're going to stand in our way with these mass deportations. And he said, well, if you're not going to help us, get the hell out of the way. And then he goes on to say he has a plan in case these Democrat governors try to slow him down.
We're going to do it. So if we can't get assistance from New York City, and we may have to double the number of agents we send in New York City, because we're going to do the job. We're going to do the job without you or with you. But it's much easier to arrest a bad guy. Like I just said, we're concentrating on public safety threats of human and national security threats. It's much easier to arrest a bad guy in the jail. Give us access to Rikers Island that we've been kicked out of. Let us get the bad guy in the jail. It's safer for the alien. It's safer for the officer. It's safer for the community. But if we don't release Trump.
He's right. Let them just go into the jails and get the bad guys. It's a much safer process for everybody. There will be a lot less bloodshed if they're allowed to do it that way. A lot less. And the ladies over at The View were very, very upset about Tom Homan being named new border czar, which is usually, listen, that's a good sign, right? If the ladies on The View are very upset about the pick, you can rest assured that it was a fantastic pick.
It's chilling what he just said. You realize that when he says, yes, families can be deported together, what he is saying is that U.S. citizens can be deported. What he is saying is if the parent is undocumented and they have U.S. citizen children or U.S. citizen spouse, and you don't want to separate them, then let's deport the U.S. citizens.
I mean, that's not what he's saying at all. That's not. She's referring to the 60 Minutes clip where they say, how can you stop family separations during deportation? Tom Homan said, well, it's easy. You deport the whole family. He didn't say he was going to deport U.S. citizens. That's Anna Navarro's take.
Look, Donald Trump won the electoral vote. He won. He's going to win the House. He won the Senate. For all effects and purposes, he's got the Supreme Court. They've given him immunity. This is what the country voted for.
Yep.
This is, a lot of people thought that when he talked about mass deportations, he wasn't being serious. I don't know how many times he had to say it for people to realize he was being serious. Well, if you thought he wasn't being serious, the appointment of Tom Homan today as border czar, and he will be in charge of a mass deportation program, the largest the country has ever seen, they say. And now Stephen Miller, as deputy chief of staff, should let you know that he was absolutely serious. And when you talk about mass deportations, people think, oh, it's just going to be the criminals. There's not enough criminals, aliens in the federal prison system for it to be mass deportations. What it means is grandmothers. What it means is brothers and aunts. What it means is abuelos y abuelas. It means dreamers. It means your family members. It means your colleagues. It means your friends. It means people who are part of the society. And look, America, those of you who voted for Trump, This is what you wanted. This is what you voted for. You screwed around, and you're about to find out.
Oh, yeah. She's talking very, very tough, right? You screwed around, and you're about to find out. The View hosts, very upset, very, very troubled by what they're seeing. Yeah, this is what we voted for. No, we didn't think Donald Trump was joking. Oh, there aren't enough apartment buildings that Tren de Aragua has taken over, that we can go find criminals at. There aren't enough criminals in the system that we can go round up. I think that she is gravely mistaken. Gravely mistaken. And Tom Homan, he responded to the ladies on The View during that interview with Sean Hannity last night on Fox News, and he broke it down.
Are you planning on deporting American citizens?
No, exactly not. Look, The View, it's like Island of Misfit Toys. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. President Trump has made it clear. We will prioritize public safety threats and national security threats first. And that's what the focus will be. And there's over 1.5 convicted criminal aliens in this country with final orders removal that we're going to be looking for. There's thousands of gang members, illegal alien gang members we're going to be looking for. Now, I'm going to say, if you're in the country illegally, you shouldn't feel comfortable. Absolutely not. I won't feel comfortable if I'm in the country illegally. If I'm in some other country illegally, I'm not going to be comfortable. You shouldn't be comfortable either, because when you enter this country illegally, you have committed a crime. You are a criminal, and you're not off the table.
No, and he's absolutely right. Listen, if we snuck into Canada today, yeah, we would have to look over our shoulder. We broke into another country illegally. No other country is going to stand for this. Yet we have to take a knee. We have to just bend over and take it. No, and we're not going to anymore. And the appointment of Tom Homan as border czar is really rubber stamping that. And he goes a bit further. He's like, guys, not only are we going to do this, but we already have a plan. We have a targeting system, and spoiler alert, it works.
Country, all told, more than 400,000 criminal, illegal immigrants, including known terrorists. They're here, but we don't know where they are. How are we going to find them to get rid of them?
Look, ICE is very good at what they do. We have a targeting system. I can't really talk about it on the air because it's law enforcement sensitive, but we're going to find them. And look, we're going to go get them. I saw today numerous governors from sanctuary states saying they're going to step in the way. They better get the hell out of the way. Either you help us or get the hell out of the way, because ICE is going to do their job. We're going to take the handcuffs off ICE that the Biden administration put on them and let ICE what they do best. And let me say this. Back to The View or Joe Biden. They promised, this administration promised, they're going to concentrate on the criminal aliens. That was a priority. Secretary Mayorkas said it. I looked at the stats today. The removal of criminal aliens is down 74% from President Trump. We have more criminals here than we ever had. So we got plenty of targets out there, and the men and women of this new administration are going to go look for them. They're going to look for them in sanctuary cities. If sanctuary cities don't want to help, get out of the way. I'll double the workforce in that sanctuary city. We're going to do our job. Despite the politics, we're doing it. So get used to it, because we're coming.
I love it. I mean, does that not just juice you up? Let's go. Let's go. It's time. It's time. I saw a thing, and it really just like weighs into how real the disaster at the open border is. Jack Posobiec tweeting this morning. Rachel Marin's sister has started an Etsy shop, and Jack Posobiec tweeted it out and said, "Hey, let's support Rachel Marin's family this Christmas." And it's a nice gesture, and you can find the link on my Twitter at Chris Hand on Air. And you can buy quilted stockings and quilted handmade quilts and blankets, and it'll help the family. But it's like there are so many families that have been affected by this open southern border that aren't going to receive that kind of help, aren't going to receive that kind of media attention, that publicity, and it's heartbreaking. And we need to get it under control immediately. Tom Homan is the guy for the job. And it doesn't sound like he's scared. It doesn't sound like he's worried. He's not nervous about the Democrats. He's not nervous about people getting in his way. In fact, he said, if you're gonna try and slow us down, we're gonna double the number of agents in your area. And he went further. He's talking about criminal gang members and how they're going after them.
Criminals and gang members get no grace period. But while we're out prioritizing the public safety threats and national security threats, if you want to self-deport, you should self-deport because, again, we know who you are and we're going to come and find you. So if you want to self-deport, that's fine. But criminals and gang members, they get no favors from this administration. You came to this country illegally, which is a crime. You committed crimes against the United States citizens, some heinous crimes. You get no grace period, so we're coming for you. But for those others, the non-criminals, if you want to self-deport, I'm all for it. Because when they self-report, they can put their orders, put everything in order, their family business, if they got homes or whatever, they can put all that in order and leave with their family altogether. It makes perfect sense for the ones that are not criminals and not priorities.
So you should self-deport. I saw one idea floating around on Twitter last night, which I thought was great. Trump should come out and say, listen, if you self-deport, we'll give you an opportunity to apply and come back through the legal way. We will. We'll give you a chance. We'll look over your paperwork and see what's what. But if we have to come find you, if we have to spend our resources searching for you and we deport you that way, then you're persona non grata and you're never going to be allowed in this country again. I think that a statement like that would go a long way and really help grease the wheels of the self-deportation movement, which it does seem like there is a bit of a self-deportation movement. I saw another thing floating around on Twitter that there are sources at migrant shelters in New York that are pulling up and at certain times, and they're picking up migrants and driving them to Canada. That's just internet rumors. It's on the internet, so it must be true. But it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me. But Tom Homan, he's the right guy for the job. And if there's anybody that's going to scare these illegal aliens into self-deporting, it's Tom Homan. Without a doubt. Hannity even went a step further. He said, well, what happens to the people that are helping illegal aliens get across, right? Like if you're helping an illegal alien and you're getting them across, what should happen to you, right? Because there are Americans that are facilitating this. There are Americans that are helping out, and I think that they should be put in jail as well. But what does Tom Homan think about it? You know, that's the question.
You'd be arrested and charged with a felony. You'd be in violation of Title 8, United States Code 1324, alien smuggling. I put a lot of people in prison for that, for violation of that statute. That's what's supposed to happen. And you're exactly right. This administration is complicit in the smuggling of millions of people into this country. And we look at just the children. We have over 500,000 children that were smuggled in this country by criminal cartels that this administration released to so-called sponsors, 500,000. And they can't find them. And that's something I want to talk about real quickly. President Trump is committed. This is just not a deportation operation that we're targeting the worst of the worst first. We're going to find those 500,000 children. We're going to save them. We'll put them back to their families. That's what President Trump's committed to doing.
That's Tom Homan. That's our new border czar. You know, remember when Joe Biden got elected and they said the adults are back in charge and we all kind of rolled our eyes? I think you can look at the appointment of Tom Homan as border czar and say, you know what, guys? The adults are back in charge. What was it that Tucker said on the campaign trail? Dad's home and he's pissed. That's where we're at in America today. It feels good, man. It feels like we're going to get some things done. It's 9:52 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Up ahead on Super Talk 99.7, Tennessee Senator Bill Hagerty's choice for the Senate leadership and what he's telling WTN. Also, his colleagues pressured him. Now Chuck Schumer says he'll do the right thing for some newly elected senators. Those stories coming up at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones. 9:59 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. So the only appointments that Trump has confirmed himself on Truth Social are Susie Wiles, Lee Zeldin, Tom Homan, and I'm missing one. He did one other. Oh man, I had it in my notes so that I lost it. It was Lee Zeldin, Tom Homan, Susie Wiles, and I think that might be it. Is that it? I think he did one
Kristi
more.
Noem?
No, Elise Stefanik.
Oh, Elise Stefanik, yeah.
Those are all right. So Elise Stefanik, Tom Homan, Susie Wiles, and Lee Zeldin. Those are the only ones that he's officially announced himself on True Social. So are the other rumored appointments just that, rumors? There's an internet theory going around that it's a way to find out who's going to leak information to the press. I know. Conspiracy theories. Get your tinfoil hats. We'll talk about that. Plus, the rumored appointments. Marco Rubio? I don't know, man. Not a fan. Not a fan. But we'll talk about who he actually appointed and who the rumors are when we get back. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, good morning. It's 10 o'clock now and 59 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Not getting much warmer today. We've got your forecast and traffic still ahead. When the Senate votes tomorrow on its leadership, Senator Rick Scott, an avid Trump supporter, will have at least one vote. Tennessee Senator Bill Hagerty.
I called John Thune and John Cornyn before I called Rick Scott to tell them both that I was going to be endorsing Rick Scott. They weren't surprised.
Hagerty speaking this morning on WTN's Dan Mandis show. Analysts say that Hagerty may still be on a short list for Treasury Secretary in the new administration. A New York judge granting President Trump's request to delay a decision on whether to move ahead with sentencing in his hush money conviction, which could be toppled by the Supreme Court's presidential immunity ruling. The one-week delay allows prosecutors to respond to Trump's demand that the case be dismissed entirely now that he is president-elect. Another push from a state legislator to eliminate the Tennessee grocery sales tax. Representative Afton Bain has reintroduced a bill that would replace the 4% tax on groceries with a bill to increase business tax, costing Tennessee businesses some $800 million. Opponents of the bill say taxing businesses means that they'll raise the prices on their goods. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer apparently had a change of heart. Now, we reported yesterday that he won't invite Pennsylvania Republican Senator-elect Dave McCormick to the Senate orientation this week, saying that they were still counting ballots in the Keystone State, even though the Associated Press has projected him to win. Well, today, Daily Wire reports that Senate colleagues have pressured Schumer, and he has relented. McCormick and Arizona Democrat Ruben Gallego are now both invited to orientation in the Senate. And it looks like Donald Trump may be breaking the media again. According to Nielsen data, ever since election night, viewership at MSNBC and CNN has plummeted. On Thursday, 2 days after the election, MSNBC garnered only 596,000 viewers. CNN had 419,000. By comparison, Fox News on Thursday, the viewership there was 2.6 million, up by more than 60% over last year. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
10:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how's it going? My name is Chris Hand. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, and Instagram at Chris Hand on air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. So the Trump administration seems to be taking shape. And if the rumored appointments are true, I mean, we can honestly say, listen, this is a massive upgrade from where we were in 2015, 2016. Already. But we got to be diligent. We got to make sure that our voices are heard throughout this whole process. With the appointments that Trump is making, he has only officially stated 4 of them on Truth Social. Susie Wiles, Elise Stefanik, Lee Zeldin, and Tom Homan. Until Trump makes it official, I'm gonna assume all else are rumored. There are rumors online that some of these appointments are people testing leaks. They want to find out who is leaking information to the press from inside the Trump team, because somebody's always going to do it, right? So maybe that's the case. Maybe they're, as one super texter, Dan, put it, they're floating names to crowdsource researching job candidates. Maybe. That could very well be the case, too. Some of the rumored names I really like a lot. Stephen Miller for Deputy Chief of Staff. Who wouldn't want Stephen Miller to be Deputy Chief of Staff? I mean, Stephen Miller is just a hard, staunch defender of our borders. And this is him just a few weeks ago at the Madison Square Garden rally.
I want you to think for a minute about the decades of abuse that has been heaped upon the good people of this nation. Their jobs looted and stolen from them and shipped to Mexico, Asia, and foreign countries. The lives of their loved ones ripped away from them by illegal aliens, criminal gangs, and thugs who don't belong in this country. I'm not just saying that. You've read the stories. It happens every day. You read one of these heartbreaking headlines. Who's going to stand up for our daughters? Who's going to stand up for the girls of America, the women of America, the families of America? Who's going to stand up and say the cartels are gone, the criminal migrants are gone, the gangs are gone, America is for Americans and Americans only?
Well, the answer to that question on who is going to step up, it's Donald J. Trump, and he has, and he's won. I would love Stephen Miller in the administration in some capacity, in the cabinet, some way, somehow. They're floating him as the next Deputy Chief of Staff. Hasn't been officially confirmed by Trump yet. I'm not against Stephen Miller at all. There's another story floating out there that Mike Waltz, Florida rep, is going to be the national security advisor. I don't feel one way or the other. He wanted to really, really help Ukraine at the beginning of that conflict. So did a lot of Republicans. I'll give him a pass on that. But they say Florida Congressman Mike Waltz has been tapped by the incoming Trump-Vance administration as national security advisor. Waltz is a Green Beret, served in Afghanistan, the Middle East, and Africa. And his new position will brief the president on national security matters. This is per the Wall Street Journal. Again, not Trump. The only people that Trump has announced are Susie Wiles, Chief of Staff, Lee Zeldin, EPA Chief, Elise Stefanik, UN Ambassador, and Tom Homan as Border Czar. That's all we got from Trump so far. Mike Waltz as head of the NSA, I don't hate it. I'll tell you one I love, though. One of the rumors that I'm really just tickled pink about, ex-defense official Kash Patel emerging as a top contender for CIA director. Yup. Sign me up for that. Kash Patel, if you've paid any attention over the past 4 years, he's a straight shooter, and he really seems to have his fingers on the pulse of where the Americans are at and where we need to get our government back to. He's written a bunch of books. He previously served as a National Security Council official, senior advisor to the acting director of National Intelligence, and chief of staff to the Secretary of Defense. So Trump has not officially arrived at a decision for Patel. But they're saying that there's been conversations between the transition team and the former Trump official, with the majority of the discussions in Trump world being focused on the CIA, according to the source. This is from the New York Post. If he doesn't lead the CIA, Patel could also head the FBI or become the director of national intelligence, which sources believe he would also accept. I like Kash for CIA. I really do. He wants to restore trust in the government by telling Americans the truth.
And then when we go back to DOJ and FBI, we still don't have all the list, all the FISAs, all of the stuff they did to 275,000 Americans illegally in 1 year. Put that out there. I'm not saying put in the recipe on how to do it. We can keep the hood on the engine, but we can show the American people how they violated our rights. And to me, what you said is the most important: restoring trust.
Yes.
In our agencies and departments. That the way to do that is not to get a piñata and just punch them mercilessly and hoping for some bubble gum to pop out. The way to do that is to literally give the American people the truth. And that's what they feared about Donald Trump. He's going to come in there and maybe give him the Epstein list and maybe give him the P. Diddy list. You know, he's going to come up there and maybe do all these things, and they are terrified.
Listen, he would be a home run. An absolute home run. Who doesn't want the Epstein list? Who doesn't want the Diddy list? I think millions of Americans want that. Millions upon millions upon millions. I want that. I know you want that. Another guy, RFK. And now there's been talks, RFK is going to have to be given a position. He's not going to get the head of any agency because it would be tough to get him confirmed. That's the rumors that I'm hearing. But there are saying people are saying that RFK is intending to help fire 600 employees at the National Institute of Health, NIH. These comments were made at an event in Scottsdale over the weekend where RFK stressed the importance of acting fast. There was an audience member who reportedly asked him what he would do if he could wave a magic wand. And he said, we need to act fast. And we want to have these people in places on January 20th so that on January 21st, 600 people are going to walk into the offices at NIH and 600 people are going to leave. And then, this echoes what he's been saying for a while. He's done separate interviews where he's talking about cleaning out entire departments at the FDA, given the opportunity.
Donald Trump has said that he would put you in charge of the public health agencies. What exactly does that look like?
Well, he's been very specific in what he said. He wants me to do three things. One, clean up the corruption of the agencies, particularly the conflicts of interest that have turned those agencies into captive agencies for the pharmaceutical industry and the food industry, the other industries that they're supposed to be regulating. Number two, to return those agencies to the gold standard science, the empirically based, evidence-based medicine that they were famous for when I was a kid. And number three, to make America healthy again, to end the chronic disease epidemic. And President Trump has told me that he wants to see measurable, concrete results within 2 years in terms of a measurable diminishment in chronic disease among America's kids.
That's RFK. That's what he's been tapped to do. Again, there are rumors that he's going to fire about 600. He wants to fire 600 employees at the National Institute of Health. ABC's been reporting that. I'm here for it. Why wouldn't you want RFK to do that? He was at this was a town hall, it looked like, and there's quite a few people on the stage, Democrats and Republicans, and he said point blank, Trump asked me to reorganize the federal health agencies.
President Trump has asked me to reorganize the federal health agencies, the agencies that have a portfolio that affects human health, which is CDC, NIH, FDA, as well as some of the agencies within the United States Department of Agriculture. He's asked me to clean up the corruption, number one. Number two, end the conflicts of interest, return those agencies to their rich tradition of gold standard, empirically based, evidence-based science, evidence-based medicine, and to end the chronic disease epidemic in this country. And he's asked me specifically to measurably reduce chronic disease in our children within 2 years.
And if anybody can do it, it's going to be RFK, honestly. Marco Rubio. Let's get to Marco Rubio. That's another rumored pick. They're saying Trump is expected to name Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. President-elect Trump is likely to appoint Florida Senator Marco Rubio as Secretary of State per insiders. Rubio, a noted foreign policy hawk, aligns with Trump's stance on China and Iran. This is according to the New York Times. Take it with a grain of salt. I don't really want Rubio anywhere near this administration at all. I think that he's too pro on the amnesty side of things. I think that he's too much of an old school neocon. And I think he's part of that old Republican guard that we're trying to get away from. I'm trying to hopefully help get us away from that. Like we need to. Tulsi Gabbard gave an early warning about the risks of appointing Marco Rubio to any cabinet position. This was during an interview with Megyn Kelly.
I think it would be a huge mistake for President Trump to choose him because he represents the neocon warmongering establishment of Washington, D.C., which stands diametrically opposed to the very policies that President Trump has always stood for, going all the way back to when he ran for president in 2016 through that first term in office, and the things that he's talking about wanting to do now. And it would send the wrong message to a lot of folks who are very concerned about the fact that we are on the brink of war with Russia and China and Iran and North Korea. If Marco Rubio is his vice president, then that is what we will face, and it will cause a lot of people to question what kind of foreign policy will actually be executed. Will it be the one that Trump wants and stands for, or will it be one that will continue the deep state neocon warmongers who've gotten us into the mess that we are in now?
So that was Tulsi Gabbard on Marco Rubio. Obviously, that's an older clip. You know, she's talking about if Rubio's the vice president. I don't like the old school neocon. I don't want that near the Trump cabinet, near the Trump administration. I will say this, though. John Bolton was a pick, and, John Bolton wanted to bomb everybody, and Trump held him in line. I think he could hold Marco Rubio in line as well. I think John Bolton wanted to bomb the hell out of North Korea, and Donald Trump made him go shake Kim Jong-un's hand. So I don't think that any of these are going to really make or break the Trump agenda, but it just feels icky. It feels gross. All that being said, even with a Marco Rubio in there, we're way better than we were heading into 2016 with some of these picks. And Trump is more ready to deal with this than ever before. He knows exactly what he's walking into this time. That cannot be said about 2016. He knows the traps. He knows a lot of the snakes. And I think things are going to be very, very different this time around. That being said, until Trump confirms it on Truth Social, I'm taking every one of these reports with a grain of salt. The only ones that he's reported on Truth Social himself via a statement, again, Susan Wiles, Lee Zeldin for EPA chief, Elise Stefanik for UN ambassador, and Tom Homan for border czar. That's it. Those are the only official statements that we have on any cabinet, any administration notes from Trump, on anyone that's going to be in his cabinet. Until we hear it from him, take it with a grain of salt. Although the Fed chair is getting a little nervous with the Trump administration coming in. Jerome Powell, he's now saying that he's prepared to bring a suit to keep his job if Trump tries to oust him. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell is reportedly ready to go to court to save his job if Trump seeks to remove him. The Wall Street Journal reported this over the weekend. Trump may have considered whether to fire Powell in 2018 over a disagreement over interest rates. Powell kept raising. Trump wanted them lowered. Fed leaders are reportedly prepared for an unprecedented legal battle, the same one Fed leaders had prepared for years ago. I don't think you need to make them resign, actually. I think since we have the House and we got the Senate, but can we just end the Fed? I think that would actually be the best possible outcome here. If Powell does have to sue for his job, he may have to pay the costs himself, according to the Wall Street Journal. Powell concurred with Trump's assessment of runaway illegal immigration contributing to rising employment. Trump is reportedly not enthusiastic about Powell still being the Fed chair 6 years later, and Powell knows that. When asked last week by a reporter if he would resign if Trump asked him to, Powell insisted the answer was no. We played that clip on the show. According to the Wall Street Journal, that means Powell is ready for legal confrontation. If the president were to succeed at this, that would mean every future chair is subject to removal at the whim of the president. Scott Alvarez, who was general counsel for the Federal Reserve from 2004 to 2017, told the Wall Street Journal, I don't think that's a precedent Jay would want to set, and that's why I think he would fight. This is a humongous precedent. It is. Maybe we could just abolish the Fed. maybe the days of them printing their fiat currency will cease to exist. We got the House. We got the Senate. We can make some things happen. I hope that's one of them. And when you see Ron Paul getting involved, puts a little butterflies of excitement in your belly that may come true one day. Hopefully sooner rather than later. We got a lot more to discuss, including the Senate seat that's going to be up for grabs in Ohio. J.D. Vance is going to be the vice president, obviously, so we're going to need to replace him in the Senate. Who's your go-to? I know who I like, but do I trust the governor of Ohio to make the right decision? We'll talk about that next. It's 1021 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
What today's ruling from a Manhattan judge means for President Trump. Also, The former president's being sued by a rock band as another round of lawfare begins. Those stories coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones. 10:25 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. Who's going to take J.D. Vance's Senate seat in Ohio? We'll talk about that in a moment. Real quick, though, I got quite a few people waiting on the line that want to weigh in. Mike in Tullahoma wants to talk about Marco Rubio. Small hands, Marco. Little hands, right? What's up, Mike?
Yeah.
Oh, Mike, you there? Mike's breaking up. I'm going to put you back on hold, Mike. We'll come back to you. Larry in Franklin wants to talk about deportation. Thanks for holding, Larry. What's up, man?
Hello, Brian. How are you this morning, sir?
I'm good. What's up?
Good. Well, I have said for years, sir, that the liberals and the socialists would rather rule over a wrecked and ruined nation than merely participate in a prosperous one, because with them, it's all about power, of course. Now, the liberals for many years has caused this entire issue of immigration to get out of hand. I mean, they've just poured open the border for the sake of votes and nothing more.
100%.
Regardless of what danger it could put America in, you know, and this has forced Mr. Trump's hand. He has to do what he has to do now. I don't think we'll ever get rid of the problem entirely. It's just too ingrained in our society, but we can certainly, you know, turn back at least some of the damage and keep it from getting out of hand in the future. And any cost involved, I would say, would pale in comparison to the cost it has already caused in America in the form of jobs, higher taxes, and, yes, even human life. Now, when the liberals allowed their party to be hijacked many years ago by these socialists, the Democratic Party has lost all credibility. There was a time it had some honor to it, but with the people they have allowed to take over and with their entire decision-making process based simply on emotion and childishness, and I do mean that word, rather than simply logic and wisdom, this is what you're going to have. And it took a long time for this problem to get out of hand. It's going to take a while to solve it. But as I say, Mr. Trump has to do what he has to do. Yep. And as usual, the conservatives did not cause this problem, sir. The liberals and the socialists did.
Hey, I appreciate the call, Larry. Great call. You know, Tom Homan is on the record saying that he can have that border secured, completely secured, leak-proof in 30 to 40 days. Lord willing. Tom in the borough wants to talk about Elise Stefanik. She is the new ambassador to the UN. What's up? What's up, Tom?
Hey, good morning, Chris. It's not just Elise, but anytime you're going to go ahead and tap the House with the numbers being as tight as they are and the Republicans in the House being like trying to herd cats, I don't know that making the numbers smaller is a good plan.
No, I hear you there. I hear you. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm torn on the Elise Stefanik pick. I don't really know her too well, but I feel like a lot of the support for her is inorganic. It just feels off.
You know, I mean, and then tapping the Senate, and the Senate numbers are tight. And again, Republicans, I mean, look at what you've been talking about all morning. You know, the three different senators, you know, to take the lead. Again, we're herding cats. Yep. I don't know what the Democrats have, but they do fall in lockstep.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But, I mean, we'll see what happens. I have faith that anybody that they take out of the House or the Senate, they'll replace with somebody good. Fingers crossed. Although I don't know if I have as much faith when it comes to Ohio, and I appreciate the call, Tom. You know, J.D. Vance is not going to be in the Senate anymore. He's the vice president. We're going to need somebody good to go in that spot. I have an idea on who I want. You could probably guess who I would want for that. But is the Ohio governor, Mike DeWine, going to make that same choice? I don't have a lot of faith in him. We'll talk about that Senate seat when we get back. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It is 10:29 and 59 degrees with partly cloudy skies. I'm Joan Jones with the latest stories. The Manhattan judge overseeing President Trump's hush money trial agreed to grant a stay on all deadlines, including the November 26th sentencing date. ABC's Aaron Katersky has more on what's next.
Trump's people asked for a delay. The DA's office agreed, saying that these are unprecedented times, and the judge has now given the DA's office until November 19th to decide how they may want to proceed, whether they're going to make any particular recommendations now that Trump is president-elect.
President Biden meets today at the White House with Israeli President Herzog today, part of the administration's effort to reach a ceasefire deal. Today's the deadline that Biden gave Israel to surge more food and emergency aid into Gaza and Lebanon, warning that a failure to do so would lead to restrictions on military aid to Israel. When Donald Trump takes office in January, will Democrats try again to derail his agenda? Well, if you ask Tennessee Senator Bill Hagerty, he says yeah.
I think we can count on the Democrats using every tool at their disposal, and we're just going to have an attorney general and a team ready to fight back at every point. The American public, though, now are highly sensitized to the tactics that the Democrats are willing to use. They've seen it unfold and how unfair it is.
Hagerty on WTN's Dan Mandis show this morning. Well, it's begun already. The band The White Stripes is suing Donald Trump and his campaign over copyright infringement. An aide to the former president used the song Seven Nation Army in a video posted to social media in September. Band member Jack White said in a social media post, "The machine sues fascists." Right now, trading on Wall Street as we near the midday is lower. The Dow Jones Industrials are minus 200 points, the NASDAQ falling 19, and the S&P 500 index is down 14 points. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
1036 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. We have the best listeners, point blank. A couple listeners, including my friend Chris on Instagram, sent me this flyer. Do you know there's a rally today? There's a rally today in Nashville for greater political and transparency and accountability. It's happening at Senator Marsha Blackburn's Nashville office on Church Street, 719 Church Street, at 1 o'clock. People are upset that she might vote for Thune. So there's going to be a rally outside her office today. Here's the why on the flyer. After a resounding Republican victory last Tuesday, heralding much-needed change in our political landscape, Senate Republicans are hurriedly attempting to replace outgoing Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Worse, this rushed replacement is being done under the cloak of a secret ballot, preventing accountability to the very voters who gave their electoral support to some of these senators a week earlier. Some of these leader candidates have shown covert and sometimes overt opposition to President Trump and his agenda. The American people deserve to know how our elected officials plan to vote and why. We urge Senator Blackburn to support this level of transparency and go on record with an explanation of who she intends to support. Wear your MAGA gear, it says. Public paid parking available nearby. Recommending carpooling. That's happening today. Marsha Blackburn's office in Nashville, 1 o'clock, 719 Church Street. Should we go down there after the show, you think? And demand some accountability? I think maybe.
Just bring a big old mic.
Do we have a blowhorn here, like a megaphone?
I think there's one downstairs in the sales department area.
Okay.
Like over where all the T-shirts are.
Let's talk about that during the break.
I'm down for it.
So, listen, happening today, Marsha Blackburn's office, 1 o'clock, a rally for greater political transparency and accountability. And to that, I say thank you. A lot of people have been commenting on the Senate majority fight, and they're saying that, listen, guys, we just want you to be transparent. We don't want you to vote for people who are going to be against the American people's agenda. I'm stealing that from Super Texter. It's not the Trump agenda. It's the American people's agenda. This is a mandate from the public. Marsha Blackburn is not going on record. She is going on record. She's saying she hasn't made her choice yet. I don't necessarily believe that. I don't necessarily believe that at all. Also, I got a note on the Super Text line that the voicemail box of Marsha Blackburn, which was full yesterday, is now once again able to receive messages. So if you want to give Marsha a call, let her know how you feel about how she may or may not be voting in this secret vote tomorrow. You should go ahead and do that. The Senate's very important. We need good senators working for the American people. That's what we need. And if you're going to vote for one of the guys that are very anti-Trump, the two Senate leaders who are like, wow, this E. Jean Carroll verdict sure is going to put a damper on the Trump re-election campaign, it's like, get out of here. We need strong senators. And which leads me to my next point, Ohio. The great state of Ohio. Who is going to get J.D. Vance's Senate seat? This is a conversation that needs to be had. And personally, I want to see Vivek Ramaswamy take the seat. The Post-Millennial has the story. Two potential candidates have emerged as frontrunners to take over Vice President-elect J.D. Vance's Senate seat in Ohio. Vivek Ramaswamy and Jane Timken. Once Vance resigns his Senate seat, Governor Mike DeWine, is required to appoint Vance's successor without delay. The successor will then go on to run in a special election in 2026. Ohio Republican Party chair and Harvard graduate attorney Timken is seen as a slight favorite by Ohio Governor Mike DeWine. Sources familiar with his decision told the New York Post. Sources told the outlet, however, that the deciding factor in the case would be President-elect Donald Trump and whether he decides to pressure DeWine into appointing a candidate that aligns with MAGA. If this happens, the candidate to win the seat would likely be entrepreneur and former GOP primary candidate Ramaswamy. That's who I would like to see in there. A Republican insider working on Ohio's senatorial transitions told the outlet that Timken is a good compromise between MAGA and DeWine, in my opinion. And this is where I start to get a little bit angry. There should be no compromise between MAGA and DeWine. The American people chose MAGA. And Mike DeWine is a lousy, lousy Republican governor. He's awful. He's awful. I don't expect him to make the right decision. Let me remind you who Mike DeWine is, okay? Mike DeWine is the guy that took $40,000 from hospitals that perform child sex change surgeries before vetoing a bill to protect kids from the practice. Mike DeWine is a slimeball. I don't trust him at all. I don't trust him at all. I hope President Trump puts his thumb on the scale, because if it's not going to be Vivek Ramaswamy and it's not going to be a quote-unquote MAGA guy, you can safely assume that Mike DeWine is going to make the wrong choice. And the time for compromise has passed, okay? Like, we're done with compromising. 2015, 2016, sure. You know, we want to smooth things over with the old guard Republican class after Trump has essentially dismantled the party in real time. But in 2024, the time for compromise is done. It's done. We don't need to compromise between MAGA and Mike DeWine. Miss me with that. This guy took $40,000 from Ohio hospitals that perform child sex changes before vetoing a bill to protect kids from the practice. Mike DeWine is a lousy governor. Mike DeWine is a Republican in name only. He's a rhino. And if anybody other than Vivek Ramaswamy is even offered the job, this guy's got to go. If Vivek is offered the job and he decides against it, that's fine. That's okay. That's his choice. But don't forget who's going to be appointing this person. Vivek needs to have first swing at it. He has to. He has to. And unless I hear verbally Vivek Ramaswamy saying, I turned that job down, then I'm going to assume that Governor Mike DeWine is an absolute slimeball, which I already truly believe he is. He's a loser. He needs to be gone. He needs to be gone. Anybody that's going to take money from hospitals that perform gender mutilation on kids and then veto a bill to protect kids from that practice, he's a Republican in name only. That's a rhino, my friends. That is a rhino. And if, I don't know, listen, I'll also be honest, I don't know Jane Timken. Maybe she's great. Maybe she's awesome. Vivek should get a swing at the job first. Vivek, that's his. That's his. Members of the state's Republican Party fear Democrat Sherrod Brown, who lost his Senate race last week, returning to try and capture the House seat in the special election slated for 2026. Whoever is chosen must be able to fend off Brown in an election that doesn't feature Trump at the top of the ticket. That's Vivek Ramaswamy, 100%. One GOP insider told the Post it's going to be Vivek. They also said DeWine isn't going to like it, but Trump is the one who's going to make the call, and DeWine will take that call. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. The source also added that Mike DeWine is not a MAGA guy. Yeah, you can tell that by looking at him. He looks like a low-T soy boy beta. And that Ramaswamy is a MAGA guy, and Trump has the final say. I hope that's true. And I hope that Governor Mike DeWine doesn't try and pull a fast one. I hope so. We need strong senators, and Vivek would be a home run in Ohio. He'd be a home run. On Sunday, Ramaswamy did hint at a possible Trump cabinet position, saying there's a couple great options on the table. These positions included Homeland Security Director. The Independent reported, we'll see what happens there. When asked about his replacement on Election Day, J.D. Vance said, I'm much too superstitious to think about that now, adding, that sounds like a problem for January 21st. So J.D. Vance playing it safe, toeing the line, that's fine. That's fine. But if it's anybody other than Vivek Ramaswamy, or if we don't hear that Vivek was at least offered the job, then Mike DeWine's got to go. He's got to go anyway. He's just a loser, an absolute clown, Republican in name only. I could roast Mike DeWine for the next hour and a half that we have on the air. Gladly. He's just, how could you do that? How could you take money from hospitals that perform child sex change surgeries on kids and then veto a bill to protect kids from those surgeries? Slimy. Absolutely slimy. Got a few people waiting to jump on the line here and comment. We'll start with Mike in Tullahoma. Wants to talk about Marco Rubio. What's up, Mike?
Hey, Chris, thanks for taking my call, man. I really enjoyed listening to your show. And just before I got onto my point, I just want to thank you for your, diatribe on DeWine. Except for next time, I just might encourage you not to hold back, man. Just kind of tell us what you really think, because I really enjoy listening to you.
I can't stand that guy. Like, out of all, like, listen, people want to say that we have a bad governor in Tennessee, and you know what? Sometimes I feel like we should be more leading, and that we don't get the respect that a Texas or a Florida gets, and you know that's on Bill Lee. But at least we don't have a Mike DeWine. Golly.
I hear you, man. So on Marco Rubio for Sex State, I had been watching some shows last couple of days, and I originally saw Pompeo and Rubio were up, and I was thinking that my first thought was, oh, Pompeo would be pretty good. He was pretty articulate during the first administration, and so on and so forth. But then I heard some a little bit of blowback that he was more interested, he was more hawkish, and I thought, oh, that is not a good thing, and that would certainly be counter to the Trump administration's, philosophy or outlook.
Yep.
And so, in that light, I think Marco would be a good choice for a couple of reasons. One, I think he is very thoughtful and he's pretty knowledgeable. He definitely has his thumb on China and understands how things work there, saying strong support of Israel as well. And while he may have some hawkish tendencies, I think that's kind of a good thing. I think that could be kind of a good thing for the Trump administration, because maybe you want a guy that's a little bit wild-eyed, talking to some of those heads of state just to kind of make sure they're toe the line, and not so much to threaten war, but to at least maybe keep all the options on the table. In that light, I also think he would be a very super strong supporter of the MAGA agenda. So, I mean, that's all I have to say.
I mean, like, I hear where you're at, and I appreciate the call. I don't think that Marco Rubio is going to overrule Trump or get us into a conflict without Trump's stamp of approval. And we saw, that play out with John Bolton, who I think is much worse. But let's also not forget who Mark Rubio is. And Rand Paul, who many people love as a senator, once said Marco Rubio and Hillary Clinton are essentially the same person.
How do you view Hillary Clinton in terms of her foreign policy views?
I see her as a neoconservative. I see her
neoconservative.
I see her and Rubio as being the same person.
Yikes. Marco Rubio, Rand Paul thinks you are the same kind of person as Hillary Clinton.
They both want a no-fly zone. They both have supported activity in Libya, the war in Libya that toppled Gaddafi, an intervention that made us less safe.
Yeah, and the Libya stuff, toppling Gaddafi. What did Gaddafi say one time? There's like this quote, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but he said, if you take me out, then you're going to have a wave of migrants hitting Europe. What happened? Oh, yeah, weird.
They both have supported pouring arms into the Syrian civil war, a mistake that I think allowed ISIS to grow stronger.
Yep.
And they both have supported the Iraq war. So, I mean, what's the difference?
So, I mean, listen, what's the difference?
Cross this threshold, you will face military action on the part of the United States. We don't want that to happen. But the risk of a nuclear Iran is so great that option must be on the table.
So if it came to that, that would be an option that you would actually
absolutely
consider and use.
And let me tell you why. If we don't do it, someone else will.
That's Marco Rubio being hawkish towards Iran. Can we stop pretending that Iran is a threat to America? Can we? Can we stop hiring people that are pretending Iran is a threat to America? They're not. They're not. And if we chose to end Iran, it would be done relatively quickly. They're not a threat. But that's Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio once was willing to engage in military conflict with Russia over Syria.
I support a safe zone in Syria that includes a no-fly zone, correct?
To be willing to engage in military conflict with the Russians, who are now flying bombing missions over Syria to enforce that zone.
Well, you have
to have war with Russia over that.
No, I think here's the answer to your question is the following. Number one, if you're going to have a no-fly zone, it has to be against anyone who would dare intrude on it. And I am confident that the United States Air Force can enforce that, including against the Russians. That I believe the Russians would not test that. I don't think it's in the Russians' interest to engage in an armed conflict with the United States. I don't think he's going to go into a safe zone. Absolutely. I do not believe that he will look for a direct military conflict against the United States in order to go into a safe zone.
What if he was?
Well, then you're going to have a problem. But that would be no different than any other adversary.
You'd be willing to accept that consequence?
Because the alternative is this massive migration crisis that we're now facing. The alternative is that Assad will remain in power but never control the whole of Syria again. The alternative is the continued growth of non-ISIS terrorist groups in addition to ISIS itself.
Marco Rubio. I mean, this is who they want. Is this who they want? Marco Rubio. I pray that was just a leak. And listen, it's too much. It's too much. Rand Paul called him the same person as Hillary Clinton. Is that who you want? It's not my choice. That's not my choice. Now, if he does get the job officially, which Trump has not posted on Truth Social, I've said it a few times. There's only been 4 that he's confirmed on Truth Social. It's Susan Wiles, Elise Stefanik, Lee Zeldin, and Tom Homan. Everything else, until I see a confirmation from Trump, is just rumors and hearsay and independent sources familiar with their thinking. Until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. If it does happen, I'm not going to like it. But if you had hawks in the last administration that couldn't get their war hawkish agenda through, if you can keep John Bolton on a leash, I'm sure Trump could keep Rubio on a leash. Doesn't mean I want him anywhere near this administration. It's 10:53 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, and I got to tell you about my friends at the Glock store. This is the time of year where we got to be thankful, right? Thanksgiving's on the way, and it's companies like the Glock store that really make me thankful to be a part of this station at WTN, and we should be thankful every day for guys like Lenny McGill at the Glock store. Lenny moved his entire operation from San Diego to Nashville in 2020, and it's been a crazy good 4 years. I don't know if you know this, but the Glock store is primarily a nationwide online retailer, glockstore.com. But they have a beautiful retail showroom and the incredible, totally unique Shoot 270 shooting rooms, and that's the outward-facing part of the business. This is a business that employs almost 100 Nashvillians. So this November and all year long, I'm thankful for the support of Lenny McGill and the Glock store on this radio station. It's because of sponsors like this that we can freely express our opinions and let you express yours, because we got to make some money, and stores like the Glock store really help us out with that. So if you want to let them know the next time you visit them how much you appreciate the Glock store, please do. They're minutes from the airport. They're worth the drive from anywhere, and they're online at glockstore.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
All right, eastbound 24, we've got rolling roadblocks in Laverne. All lanes closed right before Waldron Road. And coming up, we've got more on the Trump transition. And a group of scientists are now worried about the environmental impacts of satellites in space. Details coming up on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Shiny space trash on the way in the news. 11 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. I want to take your calls. What do you think so far on the appointments made by Donald J. Trump? What do you think about the rumored appointments by Donald J. Trump? We'll talk about that and more on the way. Plus, the left continues to melt down. There's still more fallout from the left. And surprisingly enough, Van Jones seems to be coming to grips with reality. We'll talk about that next. It's 11:01 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Right now, I want to remind you about that traffic I just gave. Eastbound 24, you've got a rolling roadblock that has all lanes closed right there before Waldron Road in Laverne. This is Rutherford County, eastbound at 24. All lanes closed due to rolling roadblocks. President-elect Trump has already tapped a few people to serve in his cabinet. Representatives in Congress were chosen, like Elise Stefanik of New York for UN ambassador, Mike Waltz of Florida for national security advisor. More than a dozen races in the House still outstanding, and these outgoing Republican lawmakers could affect which party has control. But House Speaker Mike Johnson says he's optimistic the House will stay in Republican control, and also says Trump understands that it could be close.
I don't expect that we will have more members leaving, but I'll leave that up to him. But yes, are we talking about it? Yes, all the time.
Florida Senator Marco Rubio has been tapped to be Secretary of State. Rubio sits on the Foreign Relations and Intelligence Committee and has pushed a hard line on China and Iran. So when Trump takes office in January, will Democrats try again to derail his agenda? Tennessee U.S. Senator Bill Hagerty says, of course.
I think we can count on the Democrats using every tool at their disposal, and we're just going to have an attorney general and a team ready to fight back at every point. The American public, though, now are highly sensitized to the tactics that the Democrats are willing to use. They've seen it unfold and how unfair it is.
Hagerty on WTN's Dan Mandis show this morning. President-elect Trump still has a pending sentencing coming up in New York after he was convicted of 34 felony counts related to a hush money payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniels. The judge on the case, Juan Merchan, has now given the DA's office until November 19th to decide how they may want to proceed, whether they are going to make any particular recommendations now that Trump is president-elect. And headed to the inbox at the Federal Communications Commission, an open letter from more than 100 scientists demanding a temporary halt to satellite launches. Jim Ryan says they're worried about the potential environmental impact of the world's new space race.
3, 2, 1.
At Florida's Cape Canaveral Monday, spectators were treated to not one,
3, 2, 1. Ignition.
but two SpaceX launches, one carrying a Korean communication satellite, the other hauling 24 Starlink satellites into orbit. In their letter to the FCC, the astronomers complained that no study has been done on the effect of mega constellations of satellites on air quality, on the risk to people on Earth, and the danger to astronauts aboard the International Space Station.
That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
11:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. How you feeling about things? I mean, we're a week removed now from the election of Donald J. Trump. It feels pretty good. We're starting to get cabinet appointments. We got a Senate vote fight happening. How do you feel about it? 615-737-9986. Do you like the appointments that you've heard of so far? What about the rumored appointments? Do you love them? Do you hate them? What are your thoughts? 615-737-9986. Jerry in Huntsville wants to talk about the Senate vote. What's up, Jerry?
Hey, Chris. I'm really enjoying your show.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I don't know if you've already talked about this or not. I haven't heard anybody else talk about it. But what McConnell is pulling tomorrow is exactly the same thing he did in 2016. Whenever the Republicans won the Senate, he had an immediate vote and put all of his people in positions of leadership before they even get the new people sworn in. And I don't trust the man. He needs to go. And I wish we could just sort of, put him out of office, but we can't.
Yeah, well, he's gone come November, but I'm with you, man. Like it's time. It's time to get rid of him, and he does seem to have his thumb on the scale. It seems like he wants to install one of his guys, either Cornyn or Thune.
Yeah, that's been his nature the entire time he's been in office, and I wouldn't trust him anymore than I could throw him. So
no,
anyway, enjoy your show.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Thanks for the call. Yeah, I mean, Mitch McConnell. Let's be honest. Has he done one thing that's good? Just one. He's only done one thing that I can think of, and that's the Supreme Court. That's it. Stopping Merrick Garland from becoming a Supreme Court justice. Other than that, anything news or noteworthy from Mitch McConnell? Should we trust his proteges? No, not at all. And Marsha Blackburn might be voting for one of those proteges today. Now, her official statement is that she hasn't made a choice yet. But you can look at the list that's floating around online about which way it's rumored every senator is going to vote. And Marsha is down in the Thune category. Interesting. There's a rally happening at 1 o'clock outside of Marsha's office in Nashville, which is at 719 Church Street, where, Americans and people that voted for her are going to say, enough is enough. We want transparency and accountability. The secret vote stuff has to go. It's got to go. So if you're in the area and you want to make an appearance down there, again, that's at 1 o'clock at her Nashville field office, 719 Church Street, Suite 2100. I think that you should have your voice heard. Jim in Spring Hill, you're up next on Super Talk. What's up, Jim?
Hello. Yeah, it is Tim as in Timothy. But anyway, I just wanted to say that Elise Stefanik or anyone else who comes from the House or Senate must come from a state where the governor's likely to replace it with, them with another member of their own party. But, Elise Stefanik is going to get replaced by a Democrat because Governor Hochul won't nominate a Republican.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but you still want the right person for the job. I don't have a feeling on her one way or the other. Do you like Elise Stefanik?
Well, from what I've heard of her, I do like what I've heard, but I haven't heard a whole lot. And I would think that surely they could find someone else who's just as worthy, somewhere else from a more friendly state.
So in New York, though, I'm under the impression though that it's not Hochul that's going to be able to replace her, but that there's going to be a special election to fill her seat. It's not a gubernatorial appointment.
Oh, well, no, that would be different, and hopefully the people of her district will, send another Republican.
Yeah,
but it's just a little iffy,
Yeah, no, I hear you, man, and I appreciate the call. I just want transparency. I just want some honesty. That's I think that's what we can ask for. I did see one super texter, and the point kind of it made some sense. One super texter said, "Well, listen, they want a unified front, and they don't want to look like a house divided, so they do the vote in secret. That way, they can come out and say, "Yep, we're all backing our guy, no big deal, and we're moving on." Maybe that's their thinking. I think it's flawed. I think it's flawed completely. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. And that rally is happening at Marsha Blackburn's office today at 1 o'clock, which is I want to see how that goes. Rally for political transparency. People need to wake up to what's going on. Wake up. Larry in Clarksville wants to talk about the Federal Reserve. What's up, Larry?
Hey, Chris. Thanks for taking my call, man. Well, and just quickly, I completely agree with Mike DeSlime. I completely agree about Rubio. And if Marsha votes for Thune, then she will never get my support or vote again. But on the Federal Reserve, and I don't know if I've ever shared this, after my little stint in the Air Force, I got hired by the Federal Reserve, and they were very good to me, don't get me wrong. But I finally wisened up and saw just how they operated. And the Federal Reserve is not a federal agency, and it's not a civilian agency. They make their own rules and regulations, and they don't have to report to anybody.
Yep.
So they should. It should just be shut down.
Yeah, I'm with you. When he's like, "Oh, I'm going to bring a suit if Trump tries to oust me," I'm like, "All right, well, let's just end the Fed because then we don't have to worry about you having to be ousted."
Yeah, I mean, let's just shut it down, brother.
It's neither federal nor reserve.
Exactly. So, but listen, I wanted to call in yesterday, but it was a rough day. But I wanted to just make a shout out to all the veterans and say thank you.
Yes, and thank you for your service as well, Larry. I appreciate you, man.
All right, brother.
All right, have a good one. That's Larry in Clarksville. It's been a wild week. It feels like we fit 3 weeks into one. But some on the left are starting to come with grips with what happened, and surprisingly enough, Van Jones is one of those individuals.
What are you going to do for the next 2 years? How do you regroup?
Therapy. We're all going to therapy.
I said, "What are you going to do for the next few years?" And Van Jones says, "Therapy, or we're going to therapy."
I don't know why are we here? There's nothing. If you're a Democrat, all we can say is we hope that Susie decides that she's going to take a long vacation, that they hire some terrible people and make some mistakes to give us a chance. Right now, they have everything. They got the Supreme Court, they got the Electoral College, they got the House, they got the Senate, they got the popular vote, and we're just sitting here with the dunce cap on. This time last week, we thought we were the smartest people in the world. We thought Donald Trump was an idiot. We thought his campaign made no sense, and it turned out they were smarter than us. And we don't have anything to say to you. I can sit here and pretend I know something. Here's what I know. Everybody I know is miserable. Everybody's on these Zoom calls. Nobody's got any good ideas. And it's going to take us a while to figure this out.
You love to hear it. You love to hear it. Last week, we thought we were the smartest people in the world. We thought Donald Trump was an idiot. Well, turns out they were smarter than us. Let's bring that back. I mean, it's just poetry. It's just, honestly, it's beautiful. This is art, what you're listening to.
Say is we hope that Susie decides that she's going to take a long vacation, that they hire some terrible people and make some mistakes to give us a chance. Right now, they have everything. They got the Supreme Court, they got the Electoral College, they got the House, they got they got the Senate, they got the popular vote, and we're just sitting here with the dunce cap on.
Just let it wash over you for a second. Let it wash over. It feels so good, doesn't it? Van, we were trying to tell you this before, man.
Last week, we thought we were the smartest people in the world. We thought Donald Trump was an idiot. We thought his campaign made no sense, and it turned out they were smarter than us. And we don't have anything to say to you. I can sit here and pretend I know something. Here's what I know. Everybody I know is miserable. Everybody's on these Zoom calls. Nobody's got any good ideas, and it's going to take us a while to figure this out.
I love to hear it. The best part about this clip is Scott Jennings it's like a triple split screen, right? So you got Scott Jennings on the left, you got the host in the middle, you got Van Jones on the right. But what's really just a beautiful thing to watch is Scott just smiling and nodding throughout that entire rant.
I'm not good at coming here and faking and pretending no, we got whooped.
Van, you're gonna go to the spa. You need a massage and a cucumber water, buddy.
I agree. And a cookie.
That's right.
Yeah, well, they're starting to come to grips with what happened, and as more cabinet appointments are made, the reality is going to set in even more. Calvin in Lebanon, the distinguished gentleman from Lebanon, Tennessee. What do you think about the cabinet picks so far?
Well, I just want to say this: that I picked Donald Trump and voted for him to be our next leader of this country.
Yes, sir.
I have no right to question his picks. As a voter, with an 8th grade education, I went out here and I voted for who I thought we should take his lead. And I think all these lawmakers that's going to stand in his way. I don't know what the answer is. If it's voting them out, then you don't know who you're getting in. People need to sit back and let this man take the lead because the American people voted him in to do that. And I am comfortable with if he says this is how it needs to be, by gosh, that's how it needs to be.
I disagree. I feel like we need to be harder on them now than we've ever been. And I think that we finally have a lot of these people's ear. And we can tell them what we want, and they may just do it. And if you're going to bring in a Rubio, that's yuck. Now, do I trust Trump at the end of the day to keep Rubio on a leash and not let him start any wars in the Middle East? Like, yeah, I do. I do. Is it going to be the end of the world if people we don't like get in? No, it's probably not. But I think that we should be voicing our disdain and displeasure with some of these picks.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Hey,
I do appreciate that.
We got it, Calvin. It's on us.
Okay.
Hey, I appreciate your call as always. The distinguished gentleman from Lebanon, Tennessee, Calvin. I don't often disagree with Calvin. A lot of times we're lockstep. But I think this is one of the best things about the conservative party right now. We are not an echo chamber. We're allowed to disagree, and honestly, we should encourage that. That more conversation is going to get us to a better place. Now, I will say this one more time. I've said it a couple times. There are only 4 positions that Trump has officially made on Truth Social. Tom Homan as border czar, Lee Zeldin heading up the EPA, Elise Stefanik ambassador to the UN, and Susie Wiles as his chief of staff. Until Donald Trump confirms the others, they're just that. They're just rumors, just hearsay. It's ABC News talking with sources familiar with their thinking. You know what I mean? It's not official until it's official. Some of the rumored picks I really like. Stephen Miller, yeah, sign me up. Sign me up. Some of them I'm like, meh. And then others like Rubio, I'm like, please no. Please no. Jimmy in Cookeville wants to talk about Republican control. You're on next. What's up, Jimmy?
Yeah, I just was curious. You know, we've got a majority, looks like, in both houses. But, one, how much are the rhinos, like Romney, going to influence things? And two, what can be done to, mitigate their stupidity? I'll hang up and listen to you.
Yeah, I think that's the battle we're involved in right now, Jimmy, and I appreciate the call. Listen, we got a Senate majority leadership vote happening, and it's going to be done under the guise of darkness. We don't know who's voting for who, and there are 2 guys that are Mitch McConnell rhinos who sided with E. Jean Carroll after that verdict and said Trump is going to be unelectable. Like, is that who you want running the Senate? It's not who I want running the Senate. And I don't think Rick Scott is a home run either, but I think he's going to do what he can to push forward the Trump agenda, which is, spoiler alert, the agenda of the American people. I think Rick Scott is the best guy for the job. I don't want things being done in secret. I think that secrecy is not going to breed trust among our elected officials. Are there going to be rhinos in there? Absolutely. And we got to deal with the enemies within our ranks, but before we fix other problems, which is why this vote happening tomorrow is so important. It's 11:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I got to tell you about my friends at Kingdom Fence Company. If you got kids, you got pets, you need a good fence to protect what you love, Kingdom Fence Company is there for you. They want their fence to tell the story of your land. No matter what you need, they got you covered. From chain link to privacy to vinyl to aluminum to dog fence to pool fence. They do it all. Residential, commercial, farm, agriculture, new, repair, or insurance claim. Call my friend Dave today at Kingdom Fence Company, 615-390-5891. That's 615-390-5891. Online at kingdomfencecompanyllc.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
More than a dozen of races in the House are still outstanding, and President-elect Trump has appointed some of those members to jobs in his cabinet. Has some folks worried about losing control. We'll tell you about it at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It's 11:25 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. The left, the meltdowns. It's just been great. It's been great. Have you seen what they've been paying these people? There's rumor there was like almost $2 million for Eminem, $1 million for Lizzo, $1 million here, $1 million there. You look at this payroll from Kamala Harris, and you're like, oh yeah, it actually makes sense why you started with $1 billion and then you ended up with negative 20. That's, I don't know. I'm glad she's not in charge of the economy. I can tell you that. The rumor is that Oprah Winfrey was paid $1 million. $1 million. To do the town hall, that fake overproduced town hall. Remember that one where Kamala said that she owns a gun?
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun. I did not know that. If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot. Yes, I hear that.
So cringy. You remember that?
I don't know if $1 million is enough to sit through a cringy conversation like that.
I feel like she's underpaid. She got confronted about it. She was asked if she was paid the $1 million by, I think it was like a TMZ reporter, some guy on the street. Yeah, it was TMZ. And he's like, hey, Oprah, did you get paid $1 million?
Hey, Oprah, good morning. How are you, darling? You looking very good. How do you think the election went?
He's lying. She doesn't look good. She looks like she just like ran a mile. Like she's like in workout clothes and like sweaty. Like, I don't know. Starting off your conversation with a lie.
How are you, darling? You looking very good. How do you think the election went?
Not talking about the election.
Oh, she's salty. I'm not talking about the election, thank you.
Oh, is it true that they paid you $1 million for the endorsement for Kamala?
Not true.
Not true, okay.
I was paid nothing, ever.
What do you think about all the celebrities with their mass exodus?
I'm not talking about it.
Do you think Prince Harry's going to lose his visa now that Trump's president?
And she shuts the door. Wouldn't it be awesome if Prince Harry lost his visa? Like, wow, Harry, out of all the members of the royal family, you're the worst. Try Canada. But listen, He said, did you get paid $1 million for the endorsement? And she said, no. He didn't say, did you get paid $1 million to host a town hall event? It's all in the wording, right? So maybe she didn't get paid to endorse Kamala Harris, but I think we can all understand that she definitely made some coin about with that town hall. She had to. Nobody does anything for free. If you're good at something, don't do it for free. There's other leftists in the news. You know what Mark Cuban's been spending some time doing? He's been deleting pro-Kamala Harris tweets. So soft. The screenshots will live forever. I don't understand why. The Wrap is reporting this. Popular ex-Twitter account Libs of TikTok has revealed billionaire Kamala Harris supporter Mark Cuban has deleted numerous pro-Harris tweets following her massive failure on Election Day. However, Cuban has swiftly denied these allegations, claiming that he routinely deletes old tweets as a long-standing practice.
Then shouldn't he go further back than just the recent couple of months?
Yeah. In response to the initial accusations made by Libs of TikTok, Cuban said, I've always gone back and deleted old tweets for years. Same with the 2020 election, 2016 election, same with other stuff. You can use the Wayback Machine if you really want to see them. You know what the Wayback Machine is, right? It's like an internet archive. So you can go to a website and type in the link, and then you say, I want to look at this in 2016. Which is funny. I did that during the election. And if you do it on Kamala Harris's Wikipedia page and you go back to, when she was elected as senator, and it's a lot more comments about her being the first Indian senator as opposed to being black. I didn't know she was black.
Interesting.
Yeah. The Wayback Machine's always fun. But people are calling him out, saying that's weak. You should stand on business. 10 toes or not at all. Yeah, 100%. Mark Cuban. Are you surprised that he's going back and deleting old tweets? No. Low T. It's low T right there. Like, just stick by it. We all saw the tweets, and we all saw it's literally every media appearance you looking more and more like Rachel Maddow. Like, we've seen this. Are you gonna go back and fix that? I don't know. I don't know if you can. I think we've come to a point now where none of these celebrities, like, can Mark Cuban recover? Is anybody going to take him seriously politically? I don't think so. I don't think so ever again. A lot of celebrities are being mocked, not just over how pro-Kamala they are, but how silent they've been since last Tuesday. And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's doing some opposition research. I'll tell you about that when we get back. It's 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. More than a dozen races in the House still outstanding, and President-elect Trump's pointing some House Republicans to jobs in his cabinet. But House Minority Leader Steve Scalise says he believes Republicans are going to keep control in the new Congress.
I know he's already pulled a few really talented people out of the House, hopefully no more for a little while, until special elections can come.
Republicans appear poised to hold on to at least a slim majority in the House of Representatives. They're within striking distance. They need to pick up just 2 more races in order to actually get the 218 they need by last count. New information about Melania Trump's decision not to go to the White House for a traditional tea with the sitting First Lady Jill Biden. The New York Post quotes a source familiar with Melania's decision, saying she has not gotten over the Biden administration's raid on Mar-a-Lago. The source told the Post, quote, Jill Biden's husband authorized the FBI snooping through her underwear drawer. The Bidens are disgusting, end quote. An Israeli leader at the White House today. The visit comes at the deadline the Biden administration gave to Israel to improve the humanitarian situation in Gaza. Here's Karen Travers.
President Biden meets with Israeli President Herzog today at the White House, part of the administration's ongoing efforts to reach a ceasefire deal in Gaza and Lebanon. Last month, the Biden administration gave Israel a 30-day window to surge food and emergency aid into Gaza, with the warning that a failure to address the issue could trigger U.S. laws requiring restrictions on military aid to Israel Israel. That deadline is today, and several international aid organizations say Israel has not delivered, but it is not clear how the U.S. plans to respond.
Right now in Nashville, Metro's Traffic and Parking Commission getting ready to vote on banning sidewalk vending in the Gulch due to a number of complaints from businesses and residents who say there's no room on the sidewalks to walk. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Thank you, Ken. 11:33 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Do you have family coming over for Thanksgiving? Well, let Busy Bee help you get your home ready for the big day. Right now, they've got a limited number of 14-SEER, 1.5 to 3 ton split heat pumps for just $69.95. And that includes the labor, it includes the equipment, the materials, the warranty. It's the perfect way to upgrade your home and your comfort and save on energy costs. Or how about this? Take $750 off an upright tanked water heater with the circulation kit. And if you're looking into air duct cleaning, well, call Busy Bee. They'll give you a free upgrade to the next package level. So buy a basic air duct cleaning, and they'll bump you up to the premium service at no extra charge. And how about this? You know, your in-laws are coming over. The holidays can be contentious. Why don't you give them a gift? Just kick things off right. With your Beehive membership, you can add on a free Beehive membership just for them. For a home that's ready for family and guaranteed comfort, call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, your Rude Pro partner, 615-775-7833. That's 615-775-7833, online at busybehvac.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
11:38 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how you doing? I'm Chris Hand. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, and Instagram at Chris Hand on air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. A lot of people are wondering what's going on with our favorite leftist celebrities. We haven't heard from you in a while. Is everything okay? This is a wellness check. Rob Reiner, Michael Moore, they have gone completely silent in the face of Trump's victory last week, and they're being trolled on social media for it. I say good. I say good. Sometimes mocking is really what these people understand. Honestly. That's what they need to hear. Losers. All right, so they're being mocked online. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's going to get to the bottom of this, man. She's going to figure out why Americans voted for Trump, and so she's doing some Oppo research, okay? She went on her Instagram yesterday, and she's asking for names of accounts and podcasts that Trump voters listen to.
Which podcasts are you listening to? Which accounts are you subscribing to? I'm interested, like genuinely. Let me know which ones specifically, which accounts, which podcasts, etc.
Yeah, let me know. Let me know. We're going to use the weight of the government to get them banned before Trump gets in there, I'm sure. How does she not know? Can we be honest? How does she not know?
Which podcasts are you listening to?
I know plenty of leftists, popular podcasts and Twitter accounts. We watch CNN all the time. Does she really not know, or is she playing dumb? I think she really doesn't know. I think she really doesn't know. And that's a huge reason why they lost. They are so inept at understanding what the average American is thinking and talking about. And what the average American came to the conclusion of during that campaign is that the left really doesn't care about the average American. The left really puts illegal aliens above American citizens. The left really, really puts Ukraine above you. And we've had enough of it. We've had enough of it. And in the midst of all that, after the election of Donald Trump, the story breaks that FEMA was directed to avoid homes with Trump advertisements, is how it said in the text message. The Daily Wire broke this story, and kudos to those guys for breaking it. They were avoiding Trump supporters' homes after Hurricane Milton in Florida. And they fired somebody over it. They fired Marnie Washington. But she's actually saying, guys, I'm the scapegoat. And she took to the Roland Martin podcast to say that.
Stating that I was fired. They all alleged that these actions were made on my own recognizances and that it was for my own political advances. However, if you look at the record, there is what we call a community trend. And unfortunately, it just so happened that the political hostility that was encountered by my team, and I was on 2 different teams during this deployment, they just so happened to have the Trump campaign signage. FEMA always preaches avoidance first and then de-escalation. So this is not isolated. This is a colossal event of avoidance, not just in the state of Florida, but you will find avoidance in the Carolinas.
Interesting. So she's telling tales out of school, right? She's saying, no, this is actually much bigger than just me in Florida. This is something that you're going to see everywhere. And there were similar instructions in the Carolinas. This is Marnie Washington. She was the scapegoat for those FEMA text messages that said, avoid homes with Trump signage.
Senior leadership will lie to you and tell you that they do not know. But if you ask the DSA crew leads and specialists what they are experiencing in the field, they will tell you. Demand for FEMA to give you those incident reports.
Yeah, demand for FEMA to give you those incident reports. Okay, all right. But it just goes with what we've thought for a long time. And as AOC and the left try to figure out what happened, well, we felt like you guys decided we weren't worthy. We weren't worthy. And we can point to many instances. The train derailment in East Palestine. How long did it take for Biden to go there? Trump was there that week. When they kicked kids out of a school in New York City because it was too cold for the migrants It happened in a Trump county. Like we felt this for a long time. These text messages that the Daily Wire got their hands on confirmed it. And now Marnie Washington saying she's the scapegoat. This is why we voted in record numbers against you guys. Because the writing's on the wall. You don't like us. We understand that. We do. And you know what? At the end of the day, as we take this country back and we pull you into prosperity, we'll do it with you, kicking and screaming the entire way. The Trump-era policies are not just going to benefit conservatives, but you can see a direct opposite effect under the Biden-era policies. They didn't benefit all Americans. They benefited a select few and non-citizens. When Trump gets in there and he's enacting his policy, it's going to help liberals too. It's going to help liberals too. It's going to help FEMA. It's going to help disaster areas, no matter where those disaster areas are. But the left can't figure out how they lost. It's stuff like this. Because even though we didn't explicitly know and have the information, we all knew. We could feel it in our core. We could feel it in our gut. We knew. Marnie Washington saying it wasn't just Florida. This is a bigger thing, and you're going to see it play out in the Carolinas as well.
Stating that I was fired. They all alleged that these actions were made on my own recognizances and that it was for my own political advances. However, if you look at the record, there is what we call a community trend. And unfortunately, it just so happened that the political hostility that was encountered by my team, and I was on 2 different teams during this deployment, they just so happened to have the Trump campaign signage. FEMA always preaches avoidance first and then de-escalation. So this is not isolated. This is a colossal event of avoidance, not just in the state of Florida, but you will find avoidance in the Carolinas.
This is not isolated. This is a colossal event of avoidance. And you won't just see it in Florida. You'll see it in the Carolinas. Unbelievable. There should be criminal charges against these people.
Senior leadership will lie to you and tell you that they do not know. But if you ask the DSA crew leads and specialists what they are experiencing in the field, they will tell you. Demand for FEMA to give you those incident reports.
Demand for FEMA to give you those incident reports. That's what she says. The FEMA official who was fired for telling workers to avoid homes because they had Trump signs says this was not isolated and that they were instructed to do the exact same thing in the Carolinas. It's disgusting. Vile. But this is what we've come to expect from this regime. This is why the American people overwhelmingly said enough is enough. And we need to get back to sane policies for all Americans. And again, the policies will benefit the left too. They will. They will. And they're going to feel ripple effects after this. They will. CNN is now saying that they will axe top stars in layoffs. That'll see hundreds fired as ratings continue to tank. This is from the Daily Mail. CNN has reported to nix some of its top talent in a round of post-election layoffs. The rumblings, first reported by Puck News, come as high-paid personalities like Jake Tapper and Wolf Blitzer were reportedly recently denied raises. The two already boast salaries of $7 million and $3 million, while stars like Anderson Cooper take home $20 million annually. Caitlin Collins and Aaron Burnett also earn a lot, $3 million and $6 million respectively. And insiders tell the news outlet that the round of firings will likely see on-air talent like them affected as the network's new CEO looks to free up finances amid waning ratings. And you see Chris Wallace deciding to go independent. He's not going to continue on at CNN. These are the ripple effects from the Trump victory. These people are going to be out of business and out of work, and I say good. Good. These people lied to the American citizens over and over and over. They should be gone. They told us stuff like what was happening with FEMA in Florida was just a conspiracy theory and that Donald Trump was peddling lies until he was proven right. They told us that there was no way Donald Trump could win until he did. Do they have any credibility left? I don't think so. In the next few months, CNN is going to implement another round of layoffs that will impact hundreds of employees across the organization. Reporter Dylan Byers wrote Friday, referencing CNN's recent 100-person layoff seen over the summer. This fresh round of firings, insiders say, will be geared more towards the production side of things. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing who gets the axe over at CNN. That network needs to change, right? They should scrap the entire name and start fresh. Is anybody ever going to take CNN seriously again? I know I won't. It's 11:48 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're going to check in with Matt Murphy next, see what's coming up on the Murphy Show on Super Talk.
I started work in the early 60s.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
11:54 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Matt Murphy was going to be in here, and he comes in and he puts all of his stuff down, and he says, I'm very upset at Marsha Blackburn, and then he runs out of the room.
I was having a headphone malfunction.
Is that what you're calling it?
Well, you know what? This might be the most embarrassing thing. I've done this for a long time. Might be the most embarrassing thing I've ever admitted to on radio. You ready?
Drum roll, please.
My headphones were tangled, the cord, and I could not get them untangled, and I had to get Belle to help me. I was like, would you please help me? And if people are laughing at me right now, I can't hear you because I don't have any headphones.
They're laughing all right.
Oh, I bet they are.
They are laughing.
I feel pathetic. I feel like a pathetic old man who can't work the remote control.
Don't worry. Your aide is coming in, and he's got the untangled headphones for you. Wow.
Oh, look. See, got it, everybody.
I didn't know Belle. My producer never untangles anything for me.
Well.
There's only one Bell because you're competent a little bit.
Hey, I got my headphones on now. They're
roasted.
Chief.
Oh, sorry. Dang it. I was hoping you were still unplugged by that.
Buddy boy. How? I just don't understand. We were talking about this before the break. I don't understand how you mismanage this situation so badly if you're Marsha Blackburn.
She's done politics before.
Right. So, and Chris and I were talking. So, it's a take. If I go on the Chris Hand show and I'm Senator Marsha Blackburn
and I say, Marsha, who are you voting for tomorrow?
Chris, I know who I'm going with. I'm not going to tell you right now, and here's why. I do not want to influence other senators with my vote. I don't believe in that. I believe that they need to speak to their constituents. They need to make their choices of their own volition. I'm going to make my choice, and when I do, I'm coming back on your radio show. I'm going to talk to all the people of Tennessee about why I made the decision.
Wow, you heard it here first from Marsha Blackburn.
So
it's easy. That's easy.
You might not like that. You might not say, hey, why don't you go ahead and tell us? But it's a take. It's a stand. This, I'm not sure. I don't believe it. I said yesterday, I just don't believe her.
My mind always goes into conspiracy theories, as you know. And like
you no, not
this is what I do.
Not you.
So like when all right, so let's go back a little bit. Remember when Kevin McCarthy was being ousted as speaker, and me and Ogles were texting back and forth. He's like, oh yeah, he's going to be out of here, and then Ogles voted to keep him. I was like, was that a trade-off because he endorsed your re-election campaign? So now I'm like, okay, with Marsha, this is where my mind goes, and I don't have anything to prove it. But I can't help it. Did you get re-election money from Mitch, and you got to support one of his guys?
I mean,
am I too far out there?
I don't know. I don't believe the list. I know you do. I don't, because you have to tell me how it is that John Thune is listed as voting for John Cornyn.
Yeah.
In the list.
Yeah, but that stuff happens.
Well, then what else is wrong in the list? If that's wrong, if you're going to admit to me that, but that doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
The fact that they're still doing stupid secret ballots, I think we need to.
Awful.
I don't understand. We're going to dive deep into this. What is the justification for the secret ballot?
You don't get to know.
You don't get to know. That's it. I mean, I can't think of anything else.
Shut up. The adults are talking is the justification.
I would even accept, and I wouldn't like it, but I would accept, hey, we're not going to tell you, but we're going to release the list afterwards. We're going to vote first, and we're going to release the list immediately afterwards as to each senator and how they voted. I wouldn't like it, but I would like that less than this. I mean, this is just awful.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
And there's going to be a rally at 1 o'clock outside of Marsha's office in Nashville.
I'm also going to talk, and part of what I love about the radio station that we work for is that, and you said it a little while ago, that we are a Big Ten in the sense that we allow for differing viewpoints and different positions. I don't have the rub in my soul over Rubio that you do.
Yeah, I don't like him.
But here's the reason. I voted for the guy that gets to make these decisions.
I also made the point that he kept John Bolton on a leash. He kept John Bolton on a leash. But do you want Diet Bolton in the cabinet?
I mean, I trust my guy. I mean, I'm going to trust my guy until I don't. I mean, and so if Donald Trump makes a decision, he hasn't yet, as you've pointed out.
Yeah, he's only confirmed 4 picks. Right. Tom Homan as border czar, Elise Stefanik to UN. Tom Homan is money.
Oh, geez.
Elise Stefanik as ambassador to the UN, which I don't know. How do you feel about Elise Stefanik? I don't really have an opinion on her one way or the other. She feels like wallpaper to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think she doesn't like the UN.
That's cool.
I want someone that doesn't like the UN as UN ambassador, and that's a good thing.
Okay.
So, the official selections are good so far. So we'll talk about a little of that. We'll continue going down the road of these secret ballots at the Senate Majority Leader position and take telephone calls, etc.
Perfect. Yeah. Matt Murphy's in next telling you why you should love Marco Rubio on Super Talk.
The secretary of Lil Marco to you.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is high.